We bring to your attention a unique educational initiative in North America, Ge'ez, the oldest developed language and writing system in sub-Saharan Africa, which has remained virtually unchanged since it was established over 2,000 years ago. One might ask, why Ge'ez? Why do we need to study a language that's no longer in use by mainstream society? Well, if you're going to study in depth or do research about Ethiopian history, ancient African civilization, or the link between Ethiopia and other civilizations, you need to be able to read the Ge'ez language. More than 2 millennia of the region's history is documented in extant manuscripts written in Ge'ez. Just to give you an example, one of the oldest religious manuscripts, the Book of Enoch, which is believed to date from the 3rd to the 1st century BC, has survived in its entirety only in the Ge'ez language. It was virtually unknown outside of Ethiopia before 1773. In 1946 and 47, fragments of the Book of Enoch in Aramaic and Greek were discovered in the Dead Sea Scroll in the Qumran caves, but none of them were complete. Another example is the approximately 1500-year-old beautiful illustrated manuscripts of the Garema Gospels, written in the Ge'ez language. They are the oldest known, complete, illustrated Gospel manuscripts in existence according to the results of radiocarbon dating and subsequent research carried out by scholars at Oxford and Durham universities. These are several of the many reasons why Ge'ez, or Classical Ethiopic, is so important to the region and to the world. Despite more than a century of archaeological examination, 90% of the town of Aksum, the ancient capital of the Aksumite kingdom from where the first Ge'ez inscriptions were known, remains virtually unexcavated. There's still so much to be learned about our journey and our history. This is not only about Ethiopia or Africa, it's about the history of mankind.
BBC4's A Night of Numbers begins now with a short film exploring the Ethiopian system of multiplication, a bizarre system that ignores some numbers and dismisses others as unlucky.
Could you imagine a world without fractions? A world where you could throw away your times tables? Well, there has been such a world here in Ethiopia, where for thousands of years, merchants used a strange yet very sophisticated system of multiplication to calculate the price of goods at markets throughout the Horn of Africa and the Middle East. All they needed to know is how to halve a number and how to double it. To Western eyes, the Ethiopian system is so strange that it seems more like a magic trick. To multiply 11 by 15, put the numbers into 2 columns. Keep halving the number on the left, ignoring all fractions. 11 becomes 5, becomes 2, until you reach 1. In the other column, you double. 15 becomes 30, becomes 60, becomes 120. Whenever an even number appears in the halving column, ignore the row. Group the remaining beans in the doubling column together and count. You get 165, the perfect answer. It seems unbelievable that a system can ignore fractions, even throw away parts of the calculation and still come up with the right answer. But it works every time. It's a system that seems completely foreign to Western eyes, but in fact we use it thousands of times a day because it's this system that powers today's computers.
So there are 3 ways in which this is written. Secondly, it's breaking multiplication down into a series of addition. And thirdly, it's breaking everything down into very simple steps.
Making calculations as simple as possible was all the inventors of the Ethiopian method wanted to do. The solution they came up with is central to the way we live today. The ways they perform their calculations are almost exactly the same as the working methods of a computer. Amazingly, it seems that centuries before the invention of computers, Ethiopian traders cracked the code that lies behind the modern age.
Did you drink a cup of coffee today? Coffee is a familiar drink, and about 2 billion cups of coffee are consumed around the world every day. The raw material for coffee is the fruit of a plant called the coffee plant, and the seeds in this are roasted and turned into powder, which is the ingredient for the beverage. The coffee culture fascinated people and spread all over the world. Let's take a look at the flow.
Did you know that coffee was originally discovered by a shepherd in Ethiopia?
You don't say.
It's true. Seems his goats were eating berries from an unfamiliar bush. For long, they were running and jumping all over the place, just having a gay old time. So the shepherd took some of the branches to the local monastery, where the abbots decided to roast them. Berries started to burn, the beans inside gave off such a pleasant aroma. They brewed them into a stew.
Stew,
Then over the next few hundred years, it spread to Arabia, Europe, even Sumatra.
A well-recognized company, Starbucks Coffee, started in Seattle in 1971 and spread cappuccinos and lattes, which is a mix of espresso and milk. Expanded into Japan in 1996 and continued to expand worldwide, and the new ways of drinking coffee are also spreading. Coffee has become popular in various ways, but we want to keep in mind the history behind it.
Out comes the sun, shining on my face again. Grades get me high, high so I can meditate. Oh, dreams of brighter days Giving thanks
As the
alive.
days goes by, giving thanks and praise.
As I puff on my window and glance through my window, I realize there's no turning back. Oh, got to complete life's journey, though things get contrary. Oh, got to make it to the top. See, I'm searching for a way to survive. Working so hard, I know job will provide. Oh, see, oh, I'm keeping my head high. Mama tell me the limit is the sky.
Dreams of brighter days, highest grades we blaze, dreams of brighter days,
Oh, well,
giving thanks, giving thanks, giving thanks.